I had a conversation with my uncle the other day. My uncle is currently 63 years old. My mother's brother, older brother. My mother would have been 55 years old this year, 2026. And she passed away when she was 34 years old. So some days I'm really grateful that I made it past 35, 34, sorry. And it's because I know what happened at 34 when my mother passed. And being alive, and I'm just about to turn 35, it shows that I've literally made it through the first difficult part, which is staying alive. Now I need to stay alive for my children. So I had a conversation with my uncle the other day where he found me at home because I had left the house for a couple of months and I'm back again. And he asked me, "Why are you back?" And I said, "Because I'm not done." He's like, "You're not done with what?" And I said, "With my spiritual training." And he said, "Aren't you supposed to actually do your spiritual work, which your ancestors," he said, your ancestors must tell you where to go. Go to someone who's going to help you with your spiritual work. And then once you're done with your spiritual work, you help people and you move on." And I said, clearly, this is evidence to show that I answered and I told him this. I'm like, this is evidence to actually show that a lot of people don't know what spirituality is. They are not in a place where they understand what is actually happening in spirituality. I sat them down and I said, that's not how it works. And he asked me, how does it actually work? I said, I'm going to give you basics because I don't want to give you complicated information here. First of all, you and your siblings, your mother, her husband, and their parents, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. We're talking about 100 years of ignoring spiritual gifts, ignoring generational curses, ignoring every single thing, whether they knew, whether they ignored it on purpose or they ignored it because of fear or whatever the reason was. Now, after 100 years and more, some of us cannot have what we want, cannot live the life that we want because of the things that other people did not do. And he looked at me and I said, yes, you know what I'm talking about because you are one of those people. My uncle is heavily spiritually gifted, but he chose to ignore it. He chose not to believe in it, and he chose, I don't know if it's out, would I say simpler, or would I say what they knew or what they thought was going to work. Besides, this thing comes from far. It's not just my uncle. He was raised into the system. The ones that are above, the ones that came before, are the ones that build the same system that I and the rest of the other people that are spiritual in my family, in my lineage, that have to do their spiritual work was built by the same ancestors that are calling us now and asking us to do the right thing. That's basically how it works. So I tell my uncle, now he doesn't have an answer and he's shocked and he's confused. He's like, yo, this is deeper than what I thought. And I said, yes, sir. It is your fault. It is their fault. And so forth and so forth and so forth. Now we, as the children, are trying to fix and pay some of your debt. That's why we are going through what we are going through. Some are jobless, some are relationshipless, some can't have children, some can't keep money, some can't because of some of the things that were created even way before we were born. Now, sitting there and reflecting on what my conversation with my uncle came to, it made me realize that there's a lot of people that don't understand this life thing. We are all living in this life and we don't know what we are doing. Even the elders, even those that have passed before us, they also didn't know what they were doing. They were just living. They were just going with the flow. They were just trying to figure it out. Some did, some didn't. And why we need to be careful with some of the decisions that we make in this today, in this world that we're living in right now. Because whatever decision that we decide to make today, it will affect the next generation. Whether we ignore it or not, it will still spread like a cancer. If you ignore that spiritual gift, if you ignore that calling, if you ignore whatever it is that you feel called to do, it will come back. And when it does, it's going to be worse than it was the first time. And most people are expecting their mothers, brothers, sisters, fathers, grandmothers, grandparents to help them with this spiritual journey. Unfortunately, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand. They don't get it. And some of them may never even get it. It is your job to figure it out. It is your job to find out what needs to be found out. It is your job to figure it out, to free yourself for your own freedom, because it's not coming. It won't come easy. It won't come by itself. Even your children will suffer the same fate, if not more. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to go on, and I'll keep recording. I hope these find the right people. I hope you can relate. I'll see you in the next one. Love and light.